Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we are going to be doing a comparison of the brand new Red Dead Redemption 2 PC screenshots and seeing how they look currently on consoles. So a lot of the screenshots that Rockstar released the other day come specifically from missions, and I think I was able to find the exact missions in which they happen, so we can kind of compare how those scenes look like on my PS4 Pro, running at the highest settings, and the screenshots that Rockstar released the other day. Now, these are not going to be perfect comparisons by any measure. Number one, Rockstar are using some serious manipulation tools when it comes to creating these screenshots. Probably something they haven't mentioned yet, which is the Rockstar editor. We don't even know if that's going to be coming with PC, but I imagine they use some sort of like developer tool to get these close-up shots. We obviously can't do that on the console, but it still should give you a good idea. So let's go in order of how the screenshots were actually revealed on the newswire, and it starts with this screenshot right here, which we can see it's Arthur and John riding on horseback near the Braithwaite Manor, and they are sort of near the fields, and you can see the sun is rising over the hill, and there also seems to be one mysterious person on horseback on top of that hill. Now, the only mission that I could see this happening in was actually in Chapter 3. This is the only place in which John and Arthur would be in this area. And the actual mission itself is called Horseflesh For Dinner. And this is one of the few missions in Chapter 3 in which Arthur and John actually go out and do something together. So that's where the mission itself takes place. It also roughly takes place during the same time of day. Although, when I went through the mission, I don't believe I ever went over that hill with just Arthur and John. And again, I'll go through some of the highlights of the mission here, and I wasn't able to get that exact same scene where it was Arthur and John sort of riding close to the fence. Because there's a part where you're riding all together with Xavier, and then sort of chaos breaks loose when you have to track down all the horses. And then, of course, once you turn in the horses, the mission ends. So I believe it was still from that mission, but there wasn't a great comparison that I could get. If there's one thing I noticed, it's how intense the sun shining over the hill made the world. We never really saw anything like that in the gameplay you just watched. You only sort of get like a mild effect from the sun. Not only what it does to you, looking through the eyes of Arthur, but also to the world itself, too. All right, our next screenshot, I'm pretty sure didn't come from a mission. If it did, I have no idea what mission it would have come from, but it's sort of Arthur just like peeking over his right shoulder. It looks like he's in the swamp area at night, and there is a fence in the background. So I tried to replicate this as best as I could. Like I said, there's really no way for you to get a close-up at Arthur's face. However, the detail here is incredible, whether it's his hat or the scars or the slight stubble on his face, the summer gunslinger outfit that he's wearing, just the details on there. It really is incredible. I mean, the eyes, the freckles, the nose, everything about it is so well detailed. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest improvements from the consoles to PC, is just how great the characters' faces are going to look, especially the main characters, the one that Rockstar probably spent the most time on. Anyways, let's move on to our next screenshot right here, which features Xavier and Lenny Summers in the snow. So I knew this had to take place in Coulter because this is the only time in which those gang members are actually up there and dressed like that. And it turns out this actually takes place in the mission Old Friends, which is one of the first missions that you can do in Chapter 1. It could be the third mission that you complete. And basically what happens is Dutch instructs like groups of twos in order to do things as they're attempting to basically ambush this O'Driscoll camp. And the group he assigns is Lenny and Xavier. And it actually happens in this scene right here where they're both sort of walking up the hill, where Lenny has the rifle in his hand and Xavier has the pistol. Now, immediately, like the first thing I noticed about these two guys is that they don't look like they've been out in the snow at all. You guys can see how clean their clothes are, their shoulders, their hats. It looks like they've been inside the entire time. Whereas if we go back to the screenshot that Rockstar provided, it looks like they've been out here for at least like an hour or so. You can see the snow building off of Javier's hat, the snow accumulating on the front of his poncho, the snow on Lenny's scarf, his hat, and his jacket. So I think we're going to see a lot more detail. In fact, that's one of the big things that Rockstar said was going to be a big part of the improvements they were making, the snow. I wasn't really focused on the snow trails, but there is a huge improvement. The snow trails on console kind of look like, someone with a giant foot just sort of rummaged through the snow. Whereas the PC version, you can kind of see like the individual steps that they're taking. So that's obviously improved. So I didn't know if I was going to be able to find where this screenshot took place, but it does take place in the mission Old Friends in Chapter 1. So again, pretty neat comparison right there. Our next screenshot is Arthur and Charles in a canoe as they are riding towards Butcher's Creek at night. If you're wondering where this screenshot takes place, this actually happens in the mission that's Murphy Country, and you actually have to choose the option to canoe to Butcher's Creek at night. And the one thing I noticed here is how the moon was sort of shining through the night sky, reflecting onto the water, but also how clearly you could see Butcher's Creek, like the buildings and all the lights. And when we went through this mission on console, there was a big difference. Not only could you not see the moon as clearly, but you also could hardly see Butcher's Creek at all. Like none of the buildings, or the lights for that matter, seemed to be shining through the fog. I also noticed that the water reflections looked a little bit smoother. That's probably a big part of the PC upgrades as well. It's not to say that the console version looks bad here at all, but just trying to replicate this screenshot, you can kind of see the differences already in the vast improvements that the PC version of the game is going to have. Anyways, let's move on to our next screenshot right here. This one is of Arthur and Lenny. They both have their black bandana masks on, and it looks like they are doing some sort of bank robbery. I was trying to find out what mission this took place in, and I was able to find out that this takes place in the mission Sodom Back to Gomorrah, which is like the Valentine bank robbery mission. I had completely forgotten that Lenny actually goes on this mission with you. And again, this is one of those moments where I don't know how Rockstar got this screenshot without the Rockstar editor, because there's no cutscene where you've got Arthur and Lenny like pointing their guns at someone. So this is clearly something that Rockstar went in, took a photo of themselves using either some sort of editor or developer tool. I mean, there are cutscenes with Lenny in this mission, but there are none where they like have their guns aimed and pointed or anything like that. So I don't know how Rockstar ended up getting this screenshot. Hopefully these tools will become available to us, but just know that is where the mission took place. And you can clearly see in this screenshot that the weapons themselves look unbelievable. Now, building off of that, the next screenshot we got was this, which actually showed off one of the brand new weapons we'll be getting for story mode, the M1899 pistol. And this looks like it didn't come from a mission. It looks like Arthur was just like barging into someone's house. I didn't know how to replicate this. Again, this is one of those screenshots where I really wasn't too sure, how to replicate this, because there's no way to get this angle unless you're using some sort of Rockstar editor. So I do apologize for my absolute terrible attempt at trying to recreate this screenshot, but it's really the best that you can do on the consoles. The next screenshot is this one right here, which features Arthur in his summer gunslinger outfit on one of the brand new horses. I believe this is the Few Spot Appaloosa, which is going to be one of the best new horses in the game. He's also got like a baby alligator strapped to the back of his horse. And I tried to find this exact spot in game. I know it was somewhere in the swamp area, but I couldn't figure out, roughly where it was. Either way, Arthur on a white horse in the swamp. I tried to replicate it as best I could, but you can't really even get this close up in game. The one big thing I noticed from the screenshot that wasn't really apparent in game is just the level of detail on the horse. Like, that to me seems crazy. So the fact that you can see like their veins and, when they, snort in the cold and you can see the breath coming out of their mouth, that's awesome to me. So I'm excited about that. We talked about the weapons earlier. I'm also excited to see how great the horses look. And the final screenshot was this one right here, which was a close-up of Miss Sadie Adler. And just like the close-up of Arthur, we were able to see, the details of her face, the scars, the freckles. And I believe this actually came from the mission Miss Sadie Adler Widow, because it's when she's wearing this outfit. It seems to be that type of setting in the woods. I think this is actually in the first part of the mission, but I'm not entirely too sure. But just like the close-up of Arthur Morgan, again, the huge difference here is going to be just the level of detail on the faces and the clothing. Things you'll really be able to pick up, in my opinion, during cutscenes. And that's something I'm really excited for, because I know I'm going to go back and play all the missions again. So being able to see the cutscenes in 60 FPS and 4K, and with all the improvements and upgrades, it's going to be something special, that's for sure. But anyways, that right there is my rough comparison of Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC that we know so far versus the console missions that we can duplicate. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. What do you think of RDR2 on the PC versus the console? Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more down there. If you guys did go to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You want to stay up to date on all the latest Red Dead Redemption and GTA videos that I'm doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.